Jill, thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Well, you have a very unique role with a Catholic high school at St. Mary's Dominican. Tell us about what you do.
Okay, well, my title's kind of long. It is Vice President for Dominican Catholic Identity, but it's very important what I do. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm part of the leadership and administrative level of the school and making sure that all that we do is actually authentically Catholic, from stewardship, the spending of funds, the way we are outreaching in the community, and trying to engage our alums and parents, as well as, of course, the students and what we're doing in the building directly every day. An added thing, which is wonderful, and part of my job is actually to help be a resource for other, outside of the religion department and curriculum, those teachers, to be a resource for how they can more fully integrate faith into their particular subject matter. So.
That is very interesting. So how do you get to have that kind of... I think it's beautiful, because as Catholic schools, we are supposed to be forming not only the minds, but the hearts.
Yes.
For our young people to be Catholic leaders of tomorrow. Right. So I think it's an excellent initiative that you're leading up at the school. But how do you get there? What kind of background brings you to that role?
I think what was a big part of a benefit that got me into that particular role is I do have a background actually in science. I was a physical therapist. So I was a biomedical major, undergrad, physical therapy. In physical therapy school, I worked for 22 years as that, and I have some graduate level courses in neuroscience. And then, mid-40s, I went back to school to study theology, and I got a master's in theological studies from Notre Dame Seminary in New Orleans. So I think really it wasn't just the theology part, which was great, and actually that was a necessary degree to have the position. But I think having the background in science, in my own life, I have already integrated the two. So for that, in that regard, that was helpful in helping the science faculty to be able to make that integration.
Sure, and we always talk about faith and reason going together, and we've had some excellent scholars come out of the city of New Orleans on that, some of the top scholars. So to be able to do that with young women today in this world that everything is so polarized and you could be one or the other, what does that mean to you as a Catholic woman to be able to stand there and help these girls understand this? So
I really feel as though that is so key for our students to be able to hold on to their faith. What happens when I think, and I've experienced this some in watching just young adults that I know personally, when they go out into the college world, and even if they've been in Catholic schools all their life, it's not a bubble, but it's a little bit more of a bubble than when they get into a secular university setting where they really are exposed to a lot of other things. And as they grow intellectually, which is beautiful, and that is all what God intended for the human person, is for us to reach our fullest potential, both intellectually and spiritually. That's, one of the ways we image God. But to be able to give them the tools to be able to articulate how their faith is consistent with reason and the things that they'll be studying, even at higher levels. I think if they don't have those skills, then they risk losing their faith, unfortunately. And their faith needs to be relevant to their life, and it needs to play a role whether they're studying any of the social sciences and the human person, to history, to art and literature, or whether they're going into any type of medical field in science. They need to be able to integrate those things. So helping them see that integration and dispel any apparent conflict that they may see, I think is just key, an important part of Catholic education.
And you talked about you already integrating those two things in your own life.
Yes.
You are a wife, you're a mother, you have a neuroscience background, theology background. How does all of that come together for you? And how do you integrate your faith into all of those roles in your life?
Oh, wow. Okay, so really, I think God's design is that our faith would inform everything we do. How I act as a wife, the type of wife I try to be, aspire to be.
We all strive to be.
So I want to make sure I'm clear and articulate that well in case my husband sees that.
Right.
The type of mother I want to be for my children, like all of that, God called me to all of those roles. That's all of part who He desires me to be in this world, and how I actually serve the people in this world, whether it's as their spouse, as their mother, as their sister, friend, or in a professional position. So my faith, I think, really what all the saints did well in their call to holiness is that they were able to do that, to integrate their faith into every aspect of their life. And that's what Christ did. That's what he, I think, calls all of us to attempt to do with his grace.
Certainly.
A lot
and
of grace.
A lot of grace.
A lot of grace.
A lot of grace. And that's why we continue to go back to the sacraments.
Absolutely.
We continue to promote the sacraments.
Absolutely.
So that we can continue to strive for that,
Yes.
that holiness. And so often you hear, and in this society, we're trying so hard to build up women and their role and make sure that they know their full potential. And I have sons and daughters, and I want to see all of them reach their full potential. But for you as a scientist, as a theologian, what does it mean for you personally that you're able to model this and do this for a living professionally as in ministry?
It's really a blessing, and I try to be mindful of the gift of me being able to do that. But at the same time, with gifts come responsibilities, and so to be able to model to my own daughters, I have 3 daughters, but to be able to model to them as well as the students at the school, and it's something I'm passionate about, is the idea that the full dignity that I have as a woman, the respect that I have as a daughter of God, as a child of God, and the potential and the uniqueness that we all have. So if I can model to them, if I can really witness that that is part of who I am, and I believe that, and that I believe that about everyone that I encounter as a young woman, I think that that's powerful. And I think that that is part of why perhaps God has me in the position that he has me in, maybe.
I think that's beautiful. And you never, I always say, you never try to beat down a door that is closed.
Right.
But those doors that are just left a little ajar,
Yes.
God left them ajar for a reason. So if you allow him to kind of guide you and you put your faith and trust in him, and you are an example for me because I have very young children, and that I can be that witness and be a professional and see that the difference that you can make in this world, one woman at a time, and in the church,
Yes.
one woman at a time. And
Yes.
it's women's roles in churches are not new.
No. No.
They're not new, and the fact that we're being able to recognize this and take a more bold role in society as well as within the church today, I think is a beautiful thing, whether it's as a scientist, a teacher, a mom, a wife.
Yes.
We have to be appreciated for all of the roles that we have and all the different places God has called us. So I want to thank you for witnessing for the young women, because that is so important for the future of our society,
Yes.
as well as our church. But for all of us who are working in ministry, I want to thank you for really having and being a true witness of faith in the world.
Thank you, though. That's yeah. It's a gift and it's a blessing, really. Well, I've had women who have been that witness to me. And I don't actually go around thinking of myself as a witness, to be honest with you.
That's probably what makes you a good one.
I don't think that at all on a regular basis, but I guess when I pause, I think by default I can be. I absolutely do see it that way for my own children.
Sure.
And my own daughters and their friends, and then the students in the building.
Definitely.
Yes, at Dominican.
So and it is a blessing that Dominican has a role that isn't even thought to create a role like yours.
Yes.
I think that's a wonderful thing. And I admitted in one of our previous interviews that I was a Chappelle alum. So are you a Dominican alum?
I am a Dominican alum.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
So you see Catholic schools are just creating wonderful opportunities.
Absolutely, absolutely. They're all doing good work.
They are.
They're all
Well, Jill
doing good
Cabes, thank you so much for sitting down with me today and for being a woman in witness.
work. Thank you so much for having me.